Hey everyone, welcome to the Self-Awareness Journey podcast. I'm Melissa Albers.
And I'm JJ Parker. This podcast is for seekers, seekers of happiness and joy, seekers of a centered approach to success in life, seekers of their true, authentic selves.
Get ready for some real talk on everything from anxiety, emotions, and habits to love, compassion, and forgiveness. We know you'll be challenged and enlightened by this conversation. We're so glad you're here. Let's dive in.
All right, Melissa, you just got back from a over week-long vacation.
Yep.
And when we were chatting when you got back, you told me the story that I thought was unbelievable. And I just want to for you to reshare this because it really illustrates, the power of our podcast.
No.
So a few episodes back, we talked about cleaning out our closet, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble.
So
you are getting me in trouble.
Don't worry, he's for sure not going to listen to this episode. He already listened to one a few weeks ago. So I would love for you to explain to our listeners what you came home to after being away for a period of time.
Oh shoot, you are so mean. Oh, okay. So I was out of the country and my husband missed me and I came home and I got to just give you the whole layup first. He bought me beautiful roses that were on the counter. The house was spotless. He had gone grocery shopping. I mean, seriously, acts of service times 100. I was just blown away, right? I was like, wow, I've been gone lots of times before, and it's like you didn't even realize that the car was out of the garage. Okay, but here's the funny part.
What did he or you do to deserve this?
Right. Or are you in trouble? Is there something I don't know?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
So I came upstairs to put my stuff away, and he followed me, which is also super weird. Normally, he's just like, okay, yeah, well, whatever. We'll catch you later. Followed me upstairs. I walked into the closet to set my stuff down, and I walked out, and he goes, "Are you kidding me?" And I was like, "What?" And I turned back around. His whole side of his closet was completely cleaned. He had said to me, "Oh, I was listening to your podcast." And I was like, "Oh, really?" He goes, "You talked about me." And I said, "I always talk about you," which now frames that I know you never listen, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about that.
Yeah, we've been operating under a pretty solid theory that our spouses do not listen to this podcast. When we first started it, they listened to the first 5 episodes,
yes,
and then
to be
they
supportive.
Stopped. Yeah.
And then they stopped.
So we're like, cool, we can talk about anything we want because they're not listening.
Exactly. Turns out that's not actually true because here's this clean closet. And I mean, it was like we just moved in clean.
So if anyone hasn't listened to that episode, it's go clean your closet. And Melissa describes in detail how Mitch has 100 shirts from high school that 98, she counted them, never wears them.
Oh my gosh, he doesn't have that anymore. Oh, I couldn't believe it. So then I was like, "Oh, well, I promise I don't always give you a hard time on the pot." Well, he doesn't believe me. Now he's probably going back to the number 5 and listening to 2 years worth of podcasts with a notepad.
Shocked. I was absolutely shocked when you told me that
I know.
that he actually went and cleaned out his closet to that extent.
I am so blown away still. I've never, ever been able to pressure Mitch to do anything he doesn't want to do. He's just, he's a very strong person. And if he doesn't want to, he's not going to, period. And I was like,
until you
wait a minute.
Take him out on this pod.
Sorry, Mitch.
That is super funny. Well.
Oh, yeah. Transition out of this one now. I dare ya.
It's going to be hard. So you've been gone for a bit.
Yep.
And usually we come up we come up with something we're actually going to talk about at least
Right.
a loose idea,
Yes.
but we were kind of struggling for ideas
Yeah.
this week.
We were
'cause
this week.
You were back. I was busy. We're like,
Yeah.
okay, we got to figure out something to talk
Yeah.
about.
Settle back in.
Right? I had some ideas, but you had an idea too around this idea of chance.
Yes. And your
Right, I think
idea,
that's a pretty
you can
interesting
go ahead and
topic
tell
to
what
explore.
your idea. You can tell what your
My
idea
idea
is too.
was around the world is a casino. And this was
Yeah.
like a idea that my wife saw something to this effect on social media. And so she and I were like talking about this idea that the world is a casino, mostly around like the idea that things are kind of constructed in a way to get a particular result. Like a casino is kind of like a manufactured environment. That's a little
So
heavy,
true.
though. So let's
Well,
talk about.
but just a minute. I like this.
Yep.
Now people are seeing like the
Okay.
underbelly. You had an employee once ask you, "Wow, do you guys like have a script that you follow?" And
Yeah, right.
You were like, "No, we just basically come up with the idea and riff on it. Decide like what parts of it are good and what parts aren't, and is it viable?" And that's kind of what this is. Like we're in that mode of creation as we're recording, which I think is kind of fun. Because the idea that you had was that everything around us is constructed for us to behave a certain way. Things are created for an outcome, right? And and then you went a little deeper, and maybe I would say dark, because then it was like, run for your life was kind of like the way I felt like you ended that.
Yeah, it got worse. Like I was actually talking to Amber last night about this. I'm like, oh yeah, I think we're gonna talk about this casino thing. And then I went so far off the deep end, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to really think about this before I like start sounding like a conspiracy theorist.
Okay. Well, here's what's true about casinos. You walk in the front door, and no matter what you're going, even if it's a hotel or if it's a casino attached to like a meeting center or whatever, you are going to follow their protocol regardless. You are being watched the minute you walk in. Everything around that is for the intention of you attaching yourself to a machine and pouring in money, right? I mean, that is
so
true.
like if I think about entering a casino, it's like like the doors open, like you walk in and it is like a huge amount of stimulus, right? There's lights, there's noises, there's smells, the temperature's very specific. And the place you're supposed to walk is super specific. Like the hallways, the pattern on the carpet, the the oxygen they pumped in there. Like the environment that's constructed is so purposeful, right? There's no outside windows, there's no clocks, there's no, it's all manufactured.
Yeah, it's like an artificial reality. I mean, it's like the world's biggest Google goggles or whatever, right? Okay, can I depart and just say one
You're so up on the tech.
Google goggles. Okay, wait, can I just depart and tell you an extremely funny visual regarding casinos? I got to do a huge team event with a bunch of leaders at Mystic Lake Casino down in southern Minneapolis, right? Or whatever
it's like our local small casino.
Yeah, well, it's not
this isn't
small.
like a Las Vegas.
Yes.
Oh, it's gotten bigger, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it's got a huge conference center, and it's on a golf course. It's beautiful. Okay. Anyway, so here I am. I got my little high heels on, right? And I have all of these books that I'm bringing people for this event. So I have like, I think 3 or 4 book boxes, and they're heavy, like shipping boxes. Okay. And I have no way of, A, I don't know where the conference rooms are. And B, I don't have a cart or anything. I have no way of getting these books.
Okay, so you're like awkwardly carrying way too much stuff.
I wasn't even carrying it. I was trying to figure out how am I going to get those to this conference room. So when you walk into a casino, who's the first person you see standing at the door?
Like the doorman, the guard,
security guard. Yes,
security
it's a
guard.
woman.
Yeah,
yep, it's a security guard for your artificial reality you're about to walk into. I said to her, it was a woman. I said, "Hey, where are the conference rooms? And she points straight to the back of the casino. So to further what you're saying, I had to get to the back of the casino in order to have entry into this huge area. I mean, multiple conference rooms. Okay. So I was like, okay, well, do you have a cart or anything? Because I have all these boxes. And she goes, no. That was it. And I was like, well, how am I supposed to get them back? And she goes, well, I suppose you can use that. And she points to a double wide wheelchair. She points to a double wide wheelchair.
Oh my God. Did you wheelchair in your books?
Now, also keep in mind, the minute you walk in the door, you smell like smoke. The whole place smells like smoke, right? Cigarette smoke. And I am trying to get to a business conference that doesn't have smoke, okay? So I just want you to picture the very next scene is me sprinting straight through the casino on the little trail that they have marked with a double wide wheelchair filled with books. I just had to give you that visual. Anyway, so coming back to this idea though of casinos, I love the idea because I think it's really true. I think that there are so many things that come at us all the time, whether they are we are aware of them being construed on purpose, or whether they are even misconstrued in how we misunderstand something. You know, that stuff comes to us all the time. And what I thought was interesting as we talked about this concept was the idea of chance within that within that contrast. You know, because even if something is set up to have a certain outcome, there's chance involved in everything if it's going to work.
Well, yeah. So what is the allure of gambling? Right? The allure of gambling is chance. Like everyone knows. Every single person knows when they enter a casino that the odds are stacked in the house. Yes, right? You're right. Everyone knows that. This is not like no one's walking in there and being like, "Oh, I have a better than even shot of winning."
50-50 chance. Right.
Nope. Everyone knows that it's stacked in favor of the house. Yet millions, billions of people do it every single day because this idea that, but it might happen. It's like, it is such a beautiful illustration about how we operate on hope.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Right. Like I always say in terms of marketing, sell hope, right? Yes. So if you're selling hope, it's like a really powerful way to position something. Totally. But a casino's like that, right? That's what that is what they're offering.
Yeah. See, I don't once again, I feel like I'm virtually unemployable, which is why I own my own thing. And I also feel like I'm virtually unmarketable when it comes to this topic because I think in my whole life I've spent $24 in a casino. But you're right. The average person, and actually, you know what? Even though I'm saying that, I think that there's truth to that because you walk in and you just think, just the next time. Yeah. I'll try it one more time. I'll try it one more time. I'll try it one more time. And how many things in our lives are like that?
Yeah. So I would say for you, well, the casino experience isn't like the thing that you tried to get that, like, where you, like, roll the dice on. Yeah. You roll the dice on, like, entrepreneurial activities.
Yes. Right? As do you. Sure.
Right. Yeah. That's our gambling
casino.
addiction.
Oh,
that's our casino.
Like
our casino is like
right.
starting new companies, trying new products, trying new things, like seeing what happens. Like you and I will get so excited around the idea of a new business, and we will put like actual money and effort into into these like weird chances. Like, and we know as entrepreneurs, actually, it's way worse. Like the stats on a business actually succeeding, is way less than like you winning at a hand of blackjack. Blackjack's like, you know, something like 47, like 53%, like stacked in the house. Yeah, it's something like that, or 50.
Okay.
60. It's actually like thinner. I think.
Yeah, that is thinner. I'm surprised by that.
I think craps is the
that's a hard one.
Least. Well, it's like the least stacked in the house's favor. Now I sound like a gambler, but I'm not.
No, but also it's one of the hardest to learn. So I'm sure the people that are playing that are way more.
So but in
savvy.
any case, it would be more wise for us to go to the casino than work on our business things. that's what I'm saying.
Okay, again, I feel depressed. It's all coming back in a heated rush.
But why do we do them? Why do we engage in activities that we know have a somewhat low chance of succeeding, right? Why don't we go for the more sure things? It's because of this chance. What if? It's because of the big what if.
It is. I mean, and it starts when you're really little in the midway of your county fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts way early. You have those feelings when you're little. Yep. Don't you remember that? Can't I just throw the dart at the balloons, and if I get 3, I'll win that huge teddy bear?
Oh yeah, I did that yesterday with the girls at Valley Fair.
You did? Did you win?
No, of course we didn't win.
Oh. I thought you were going to say that you won a 4-foot stuffed snake or something.
I spent $25 giving all of us 3 chances to throw a ball off of a board into a bucket to win a 5-foot tall stuffed
gorilla
corn dog. It was a corn dog.
Okay, I would have gone for the cornbot because that would have been a fun thing to play around with later. You could have some fun teasing people with that and bonking people over the head in meetings.
Isn't it fun though? This idea that we know we're probably not going to win.
Yeah.
But just the idea that we might win is super fun. And that's what you're talking about. Is the chance thing, right? And it does in a weird way bring people together. All the girls yesterday lost together. But they also have a fun story about how hard that game was and if it was rigged or not, or whatever. Yeah. They have all this conversation about the game.
Oh, I love it. But what I was thinking about, I'm reading this book right now called The Psychology of Money. It's actually a super interesting read. And they're talking about, in one of the chapters, the conversation is about chance. And it's about, the standard 80-20 Pareto principle where, whatever works for everything. But they were saying
just quick, that 80% of 80% of the result comes from 20% of the effort. That's the Pareto principle.
Yeah, exactly. And then the reverse applies. The additional 20% comes from the 80%
of the effort. Yep.
Yeah, which is crazy. Anyway, in this book, they were talking about that. They were saying, even if the situations and scenarios are set up perfectly, and there's an 80% chance that you will win, or an 80% chance that an investment that you're making is going to pan out. I mean, those are odds that people, as you talk about chance, the higher the odds, the more safe people feel, right? Even if it's, 80%, the book was calling out, there's still 20% chance that you absolutely cannot control no matter what. So you're always in this flux of, and the example that they used was, it's a little sad, but it's really an interesting and perfect example. They were talking about Bill Gates. And they were saying that when Bill Gates was in high school, his school got some grant and got the only PC in the state. There weren't any really, and the college in that school, in that city that he lived in, or the little town he lived in, didn't even have computers yet. And so they get this thing, and Bill and his 2 best friends love it. They just fall in love with this box. They're playing with it all the time, and they're just into it. They start figuring out how to write code. They start figuring out what to do with it, and they just loved it. And their friendships evolved because of this activity. And one of the best friends of Bill's went on to begin Microsoft with him, which is, which is huge. But what you don't know is the other best friend actually died in a strange freak accident in high school. So here you had 3 boys with the exact same opportunities, the exact same chance, the exact same everything, and the 20% that we couldn't control at all changed the outcome for one of those people. It's fascinating when you think about chance and your relationship with it and how that number starts to creep up like, oh, 80%. Well, who wouldn't do that? Right?
Yeah.
And so you get a totally different feeling of security or whatever. How does that play into your feeling of, ooh, like, let's just keep trying, you know, like, or if it's less, how does that change your feeling?
Yeah. I've always thought that people are particularly bad at like understanding sort of this, like this, the statistics around like chance, probability, risk, reward. Like we're really, really bad at it. This is not like, I don't think it's like a natural thing for people to judge.
Why do you think we're bad at it? I mean, I think you're right. We are, but why? Why are we bad at it? Some people practice it all the time.
Well, like if you are an actuary at an insurance company and you are a master with Excel, you're probably pretty good at it, right? But that's after like a
those
lot
are not my
of
people.
study.
I mean, they're great people. They're just not people that would associate with me.
Right. I think it's because like there's a couple reasons maybe. Like we think we know a lot more than we actually do. We think we have a lot more influence over things than we actually do.
Oh, right.
Right? So we'll create like an overinflated view of how likely something is to happen.
Yeah.
Kind of based on our own like feelings, excitement, and so much can manipulate sort of that number in our head. To the point where it's like, you know, oh, this is a sure thing. After thinking about this and getting super excited about it for the last week, this is a sure thing. Well,
yeah, you talk yourself into it or whatever.
Yeah, nothing about the probability of something changed. It's just your feeling about it changed.
Right. You know what? Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's really interesting. And it's kind of like in coaching. When I was first getting into learning how to coach and be a coach, I remember I had a really powerful coach, and she just says, you know, you judge others on their actions, but you judge yourself on your intentions. And it's kind of the same thing. You're telling yourself a story about you that's very different than the story that you tell about anything else outside of you. So that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah. So the other thing about this chance that you're talking about that I think about is there is a lot of life that is just like good luck.
Yeah.
You know, like there's this idea that we make our own luck, and I do subscribe to that a little bit. Like the more things
I do too.
kind of you're involved in, the more kind of like you know, hustling or trying to like help. You know, there's certainly lots of things you can do to help yourself that will
I agree.
result in whatever you want to call it, better luck. But there is just straight up luck that happens to people, like all of us
winning a lottery.
Most of us even who are listening to this podcast today in the United States kind of won like a little bit of like even like geography lottery, right? Like,
right, that's exactly right.
Like we happen to live in a place that is very prosperous, so that was lucky, right?
Right. Yeah.
It can start as simple as that, but then it can go on to like, I just happened to meet this right person at the right time in college, and it opened up a whole world to me, right? And that's more chance than it was anything else. Like, how many times in your life has something worked out for you just based on a random meeting of some random person at a thing, right? I'm sure you get coaching opportunities and business opportunities nearly just on chance. Yeah,
that's super interesting to think about. Yeah, it's
so then when things don't go your way, then like what's the opposite? If something doesn't go your way, right? You have an expectation, it doesn't go your way. Well, like it maybe didn't go your way. It probably didn't go your way just on chance, right? It's not like, again, this is the thing where we think we control a lot more than we actually do.
Oh, so this is so interesting because the thing that what we're starting to float into is this concept that I'm not sure about. And that is, you know, because I believe there are no accidents, right? I've always said that. There are no accidents. But that is completely the opposite of this concept of everything is a bit accidental, or everything is a bit by chance. Like those two things are right. Those don't match. And yet, in the spirit of our conversation, I'm in total alignment with you. But then all of a sudden I went, wait a minute now. Is that actually how I really think? Because I think...
Yep.
Yeah,
okay, so
it's
here, I'm going to... Since we're getting in trouble with our spouses, I'll just go here.
I'll
just walk out on this.
You mean me. Again.
No, I'm gonna come right alongside you here. I'm gonna come right alongside you with
walk us
with
home,
this
JJ.
One. So, like, I met my wife in I don't know, 2000. Oh my gosh, I don't know.
I couldn't even remember.
97 or something, 98. But here's how we met: is I was going to college. My high school buddy was dating this girl down at Drake in Des Moines, Iowa. He would go visit his girlfriend down there. One weekend he's like, hey, I'm going to go down to Iowa. You want to go with me? I'm like, sure, I'm not doing anything, right? So I went down there, and like I met Amber down there, right?
Yeah.
And now we've been married for like over 20 years. So like in one way, like that was complete chance, right? That was like I randomly decided... like she could have gone to 1,000 different schools. I could have had tons of different friends. I could have just been busy that weekend, right? Like there's like a million things that could have like not had that moment, let that moment happen in 1997 in Des Moines, Iowa, right?
Right.
So and like, but when I say that to Amber, she'll be like, well, no, us getting together was fate. Right? Like what you're saying, like it was no accident, right? It was fate. And then I'm like, well, or it was complete chance. Or it's just like a whole millions of random things happened and now here we are. Right?
Oh my gosh, JJ. Don't ever say to a woman who's telling you fate and then you're going, nope, totally chance. Because guess what that means? You're sleeping in the boot of your car.
I told you I was getting out here on the ledge with you.
Well, and by the way, like,
but those are kind of like two sides.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, are those just two sides of the same coin?
Oh, I don't know.
You said they're opposite, but sometimes, I don't know. This is where that's
the
what
end
I
of
think
each stick. It's the same stick, just each end. Ha. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Well, now my mind is blown a little bit. And just for fun, I took a college class at night, and that's how I met Mitch. He was the instructor.
Was that fate, or was that just random chance?
Well, no. The jury's out. We're having our 30-year wedding anniversary in March, and the jury might still be out for poor Mitch after he listened to a couple of our podcasts, especially this one. Oh, but hey, you guys, if you want a clean closet on both sides, just go back to that podcast and listen. That's the only thing I can say.
Well, we probably have a bunch of other conversation around this kind of topic, around chance and about like fate and how
it's
kind of like
super
how
interesting.
You make, and to me it's like, how are you making sense of the world, right? Like either way, to me it's like it's great either way. There's probably other ways to look at the world too, but it's just
I think we all
us
look
in
at
our
things...
experience trying to make sense of it.
Well, not only try to make sense of it, but to feel safe. Because I think at the our core level, we all want to just feel safe and that we belong. And so that these are the kinds of the mind exercises we go through. And depending on your personality style, you could pick one end of that stick or the other quite easily and be very vehement about it.
Yep. Yeah, and feel comfortable on either side.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fun discussion.
Cool. That was fun. Hey, your choice. After this, you want to go meet at the casino or you want to go start another company?
Let's go start another company.
Deal. Did you enjoy this episode? Please go to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review so others can discover it as well.
Growing self-awareness is a lifelong journey, and there's always further to go. And it's better when we're all in it together. Please think of someone you know who could benefit from hearing today's conversation and share this episode with them. We can't thank you enough for listening. Until next time, happy exploring, seekers.